Hi. Today we come to a sutra that I think of as being one that should be earth shaking, but it's not. And the reason it's not, I find increasingly interesting and I think meaningful. I will say just a little about that later. So this is 1.3.11, 1.3.11 in Ashtadhyayi, and 46 in Siddhanta Kaumudi. Swaritena karaha. Swaritena karaha. Swariten adhikaraha. Swarita adhikaraha. Swarita adhikaraha. Swaritena, by a swarita, as a result of a swarita. Adhikaraha, adhikaraha, pervasion. Swaritena adhikaraha. That is a sound unit including a swarita. Obviously, it's got to be an ach. Pervades, meaning extends into the following sutras. So if this sutra was alive and kicking, you could say, it would be pretty huge. Unfortunately, just as Upadeshe Janunasika Upadeshe Janunasika by itself is pointless. Anunasika vowel gets the name it in an Upadesha because, except for one sort of sketchy Anunasika vowel, Anunasika as a indicatory function has been lost. I mean, there are nasalized vowels. We've already done that. There are nasalized vowels, but they are not used in the function of Upadeshe Janunasika it. So now we have two sutras that appear to have been, or were intended to be, really, really important in the grammar, and they've both been lost. I find that really, really interesting. So there's a lot of questions, but another thing that interests me is, at least in the scope of things that I have seen, how little commentators have struggled with this. And I think, going back to Patanjali, right away through, scholars of the grammar kind of brush this off. They say, oh, it's been forgotten, so we have to rely on the people who know stuff to tell us what they were. But that, to me, doesn't answer the question, what happened? What happened? And there's a question I think that I got from Prabhakar Shastri, I'm not sure, because the other huge, enormous thing that got lost in its original form were anuvritti. It's felt that there must have been, Panini must have guided his students in anuvritti, but that as a solid tradition has also been lost. And that's in striking contrast to the grammar itself. And there's really, really enormous validity to that. And the little, there's squabbles over a few sutras and whether some things are really sutras, but nothing compared to this. So I will come right out and tell you what I think or what I imagine. I think that between when Panini created the grammar and Patanjali wrote Mahabhashya and Katyayana and so on, at a very significant level, the grammar was forgotten. I think it was forgotten. I think that the actual sutras were remembered because there's huge traditions of memorizing text. But it's very interesting to me that these three crucial, or at least two, Swarita and Anunasika Ach, have been lost. And at this point, it's kind of guesswork or reverse engineering. So I imagine that may not be widely accepted idea, but I've gone back to the 19th century commentators and so on. And while it's very incomplete, I have not seen anyone really grapple with it. I mean, Mahabhashya goes into great detail about, the changes in usage and, I won't say nitpicky, but things like that. But that seems almost like, I'm an analyst, so psychoanalyst. So that seems almost like a defense against having to deal with this really big question for me. Okay, that is more than enough. Swaritena adi karaha.